Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today as we talk about the call for scholars for Cohort 5 for our African Futures Research Leadership Program. We are excited to have the call open and wanted to give potential applicants a chance to ask us questions and learn more about the program, especially now this iteration of the program is going to be slightly different than previous versions. So we wanted to clarify any questions that applicants may have and hopefully generate some excitement and some good applications for the next cohort. So before we get started, let me introduce myself quickly. My name is Justin Ravenau. I am a program manager with the Alliance for African Partnership based at our MSU office. And joining me this morning is Dr. Jose Jackson Balete.
Hi, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, wherever you are. And we look forward to going over the eligibility and any questions that you may have today. Justin is going to go through some slides and then we'll open for questions.
Yep, so we have a few slides just to kind of give the basics of the program that should hopefully preempt some of the more basic questions, and then we can open it up for discussion. As I go through the slides, if you have any questions, please just put them in the Q&A feature and we will get to them at the end. There aren't very many slides and we will go over them fairly quickly. So feel free to just put that in there and we will address those all at the end. So for those who don't know, the Alliance for African Partnership is a consortium of universities across Africa plus MSU. We also have a regional think tank as a member as well. So our vision is to transform lives through co-created, research-driven initiatives that address shared challenges. And we do that through building bridges, transforming institutions, and ultimately transforming lives. So our guiding principles are accountability, equity, inclusivity, sustainability, and transparency. And then you'll see there at the bottom our priority areas, which are also reflected in our call. These are the topic areas in which we focus, but they are broad enough that almost every researcher can see themselves reflected in one or more of these areas. So these are our 7 priority areas. And these are also the areas of focus for this call. So we ask that applicants align their research with one of these areas and indicate that in their application. As I mentioned, AAP is a consortium. These are our members, and specific to this African Futures call, all applicants need to be employed by one of these members, typically as a lecturer. So we are all over the continent, East, West, and Southern, along with ANAPRI, our think tank, and MSU here in the US. So hopefully you see your institution reflected on this list somewhere. And we will get into the specifics of the program. And much of this is reflected in the call, but it doesn't hurt to reiterate. So eligibility, we've gotten a lot of preemptive questions about eligibility already. So this program is aiming at addressing the gender gap in Africa, where unfortunately only 30% of researchers are women. So we ask that for this program, scholars be either women themselves or men who can demonstrate that they are committed to supporting efforts towards gender equity in higher education institutions in Africa. We also ask that you be a citizen of an African country, have your PhD, and have completed that within the past 10 years. You need to be employed, as I said, as an academic staff member at one of our member institutions, which that list is there. It's also the list I just shared. You also will need to submit documented leave, approval of leave or sabbatical to participate for the in-person portion, which for this cohort is September through December of 2025. You will also need to have a mentor at your home institution who will serve as your collaborator and as sort of a senior guide for you to work alongside the MSU mentor. As I said, the research needs to be in one of our priority areas, and applicants may only submit one proposal to AAP for this round. And unfortunately, prior scholars are not eligible to apply. So those who are selected will receive a research and professional development fund. So this fund can be used for a variety of things that will come up over your year, including data collection to be done at home, attending conferences, purchasing research supplies, publication fees, those sorts of things. So it's a small fund to sort of kickstart your research and help you achieve the outcomes that we're looking for. Part of this fund will be given at the beginning of the program, the initial virtual phase, which we'll get into, and then the other half will be given when you arrive in East Lansing. In addition to that fund, AAP will also host a series of workshops. These will be a mix of virtual and in-person workshops on a variety of professional development topics. In the past, we have done workshops on career planning at higher education institutions, work-life balance, developing a supportive network for career advancement, grant proposal development, academic writing, teaching and learning, equitable partnerships, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. So these are just some of the topics that we've covered in the past. Our future workshops will likely reflect some, if not all, of these topics. Now, what is different about this iteration of the African Futures Program is the structure. So we are shifting to sort of a hybrid sandwich structure where the initial portion of the program will be virtual to be done at home at the Scholars Home Institution. And then in the middle, like I said, September through December of 2025, scholars will travel to East Lansing to live and work at MSU for what would be MSU's fall semester. They'll work alongside their MSU mentors. They'll be based in their mentor's home department, and they'll be employed as visiting scholars at MSU. And then the scholars will return home in December to finish out the program in the early part of 2026, um, continuing that collaboration with both the MSU mentor and the home institution mentor during that time and beyond the end of the program. So that collaboration does not end after the program ends. We see these as long-term partnerships with both mentors. So, digging into that a little bit more, February through August of 2025, February 25 is when we hope to begin the program. This will be when scholars first connect with their MSU mentor virtually and will begin planning their research and their year of work ahead with both mentors. Scholars, as I said earlier, will also receive part of their professional development funds at this time to aid in data collection if necessary, or to begin facilitating their own professional development. Then in September of next year, scholars will travel to East Lansing to live and work at MSU. During that time, scholars will receive a salary while they're in East Lansing. But it's important to note that scholars will only receive salary while they're at MSU. For the rest of the program, the virtual portions, AAP cannot provide salaries for scholars. And also during this time, your home institution mentor will visit MSU to collaborate with you and your MSU mentor. And there will also be a leadership retreat hosted by AAP during this period. And then finally, early 2026, scholars will return home to finish out the program, putting the finishing touches on their outputs like publications, grant proposals, and they will also participate in a virtual research showcase at the end of the program. So hopefully those on this call attended our research showcase yesterday with our current cohort of scholars to give an idea on what that looks like. So for each of our scholars, we have some expected outcomes by the end of the program. So we expect scholars to produce at minimum the submission or evidence of publication for 1 to 3 joint manuscripts. These should be co-published with your mentors. We also want to see at least 1 grant proposal and at least 1 presentation at a conference. And as I said earlier, these collaborations with the mentors are meant to be long term and continue beyond the end of the program. So this is a year-long investment in starting that relationship, but we hope to see that relationship flourish well beyond the African Futures program. This will be our fifth cohort. We've had a lot of success in our previous cohorts with mentors and scholars, continuing that collaboration well beyond the end of the program and going on to do big things together. So we have those same expectations for this program. Um, Scholars will submit regular progress reports to AAP over the course of the program. And then, of course, failure to meet the program and mentor expectations can result in early dismissal. So the mentors themselves, applicants are expected to identify up to three potential MSU faculty mentors. This can be done through relevant MSU department websites. MSU's websites are usually very good at listing out their faculty and showing their research interests. So we ask that applicants browse those sites and take note of up to three mentors who align with their research interests and then include them on the application. However, we do ask that applicants not contact MSU faculty directly. AAP will facilitate those conversations on applicants' behalf. We don't want MSU faculty inundated with requests from various applicants before the process has fully started. So please just take note of the MSU mentors, include them on the application, but do not contact them directly. We also want to just point out that MSU mentors, of course, have to agree to program participation. So just because you've selected a mentor does not guarantee a match. It does not guarantee that they'll agree. So just take that in consideration as you're selecting your mentors. And finally, our application timeline. Hopefully everyone is aware that applications are due August 18th. Um, by early October, we hope to have completed our matching with compatible MSU mentors and making our final selection of scholars shortly thereafter. Once that final selection is made, the visa application process will begin immediately. For those who have done this before or are aware, the J visa process is a little cumbersome, a little arduous, and it can take quite a while. So we want to have as much lead time on that as possible. So we will work with the selected scholars right away to begin that process. And then, as I said earlier, the program will begin virtually in February 2025. So, oh, contact info for AAP. I assume if you've made it to our Q&A session here today that you're in touch with us on at least one of these platforms. But here's all of our info. And then again, Jose and myself, I've included our information here directly. So if you have questions about the program after today or ahead of the application timeline, please feel free to reach out to us via email. All right. I think with that, we can open it up to questions. I will stop sharing my screen here so we can have a conversation.
Justin, I answered a question from Professor Chike. This was about what's the difference. The key differences, I think, in the program. And I think the key thing is one that we now have male early career researchers who can apply now. And then the other part is the virtual, component. Remember, the program was fully 1 year in person, and now it's going to have a virtual component first, where people can do the research and then come here. And you are going to be doing the research in collaboration with your two mentors. So that is going to be done first, and then you come to MSU for a semester instead of the year. There's another question there. What is it?
Good afternoon. I've recently completed my PhD and I'm awaiting graduation September 2024. Can I apply? Secondly, I have one published article and one under review and want to find out if I'll qualify. Okay, so I can take a crack at that and then feel free to jump in, Jose. So you've completed your PhD and you will graduate in 2024. I would argue that yes, you are eligible since the program does not begin until February of 2025. So but the key thing to note is you have to be employed as academic staff at one of our member institutions. So assuming you meet that criteria, then yes, that should not be an issue. As for the second piece, your publications, you'll include a CV as part of your application, but we don't have any specific requirements around that. The primary things being just that you have received your PhD within the past 10 years and that you're employed at one of our member institutions.
So is that will you, I think the question then is, are you an employee? Are you an academic staff member? Because if you're not, then you won't be eligible.
It looks like they are employed at UP.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so I mean, I agree with Justin because the program is starting later, but note that if when we are reviewing the applications and so you will have to give us, some kind of updated information that you have graduated because when by
Mhm.
the time we're looking at the applications, if we have people who have PhDs, those obviously will be the priority in terms of being selected or going on a short list because if we don't have any evidence that you've completed, then that would be very difficult for us to um, to assess.
Gladys wants to know, must my home institution mentor be a professor or a doctor?
They
So we
so
ask,
all
go ahead.
it's associate professors and higher.
Yes. So that's both for the MSU mentor that you choose as well as your home institution mentor. We ask that they be at least associate professor. How do we identify the AAP focal point to acquire the support letter? So that is a good question. Our focal points are listed on our website, and I can include a link to that here. Give me 1 second.
And we just need to go back, Justin, to verify that the updated names are
Yes,
there
we'll make
because
sure
we've
that
had
those
a
are accurate.
changes. Yeah.
So let me put the we include email addresses for each of our focal points. So just reach out to yours and let them know that you're applying for this program. They're all aware of the African Futures program and will be expecting applicants to reach out to them. All right. Academic staff member. When are applications reviewed? So as I mentioned in that timeline, applications are due August 18th. And then from there, we have to do some behind the scenes work to reach out to these MSU mentors, get them to agree and make sure that there is a match, that they agree that there is a match there, and make our final selections. So awards would likely be announced mid-October of 2024. Regarding the proposal, should I develop my own research idea without the mentor's assistance? That's a good question.
So you have to have some idea of what you want to do and what happens when and then that's what the professor both well I guess your mentor you would already have spoken to your mentor there but the MSU mentor will then look at that research idea and say that yes this is in my area of interest I'm interested in even if it's not exactly I would I wouldn't mind working in it but when you get together now when you're finally selected you may or may not find that when you're working now the three of you some things may change you may find that you have additional research questions etc but you have to have some idea first before when you're applying and then it's on that basis that people will determine if that is aligned to their area. Okay.
And as we said earlier, during that beginning portion of the program, the virtual portion, you'll work with both of your mentors to flesh out a full research plan for that year. What if you do not already have published articles but have manuscripts under review? So we don't have any specific eligibility criteria around having already published articles. Um, I can review the eligibility requirements here. So we just ask that you, again, have completed your PhD and you be employed as an academic staff member at one of our members, um, and meet that criteria. But there's no specific requirements around already having publications under your belt. Um, the selection of MSU mentors, could one choose from different departments? Yes, they all don't have to be from the same department, but obviously they would need to align with your research area. Although given the sheer number of departments at MSU, there is some overlap there, so you could choose mentors from multiple departments. Obviously, with you would only end up with one at the end, but yes, you're not limited to a single department. Could you share the slides with contacts? Yes, we will email the slides out to everyone after this, and we will also, I'm recording today's session, so we will post this on our website for future review because we know you all probably aren't the only ones with these types of questions. The list of requirements does not have a research proposal. Should this component be covered in the letter of interest? Yes. So as Jose said earlier, you should have some idea on uh, kind of your intended area of research. This doesn't have to be a full-fledged proposal, but at least the foundation of an idea, something that can be fleshed out in collaboration with your mentors. And this should be indicated in that letter of interest, and then, obviously reflected in your selection of mentors at home and at MSU.
And also, Justin, something that the mentors then will be able to say, yes, I want to work with you or not. Because if it doesn't have enough information to demonstrate what the research interest is that is aligned to my interest, if I'm going to be a mentor, then I won't be able to say, yes, I can work with you or not. So it has to have sufficient information about that.
That's a good point. Um, so does it mean that publications are not necessary for the application for August 18th? So correct. We don't need evidence of publication as part of your application. Just meeting that basic criteria of being an academic staff member, having completed your PhD within the past 10 years. We will ask for a CV, but that publication specifically is not one of the requirements. We will
But
ask, by the end of the program, you'll those are the outputs. You'll need 1 to 3 publications co-authored with your mentors.
but I just want to add again here that obviously this is a competition and
Mhm.
we're going to look at everything. So someone who looks more competitive, someone who, I mean, if you don't have, you can't manufacture it. So, but if you have them, make sure that they're on the CV, even if they are in progress, they've been submitted, whatever, so that we know that there's a track record here.
That is a good point. So yeah, to sort of reiterate that this is a very competitive process. We have a limited number of slots available, and we have a large pool of applicants every year. So just because you meet the basic requirements of eligibility does not necessarily guarantee you a spot. So definitely put your best foot forward in that application. If I have a formal letter from the university that shows I've completed my PhD and awaiting graduation, will this be sufficient when I apply? I will only obtain my degree certificate on the 3rd of September. Yes. So as Jose mentioned earlier, feel free to apply because you will meet the requirements by the time we start the program. And then just follow up with us once you have that certificate to confirm that you received it so we can make note of that on the file. What does professional references entail? So I believe in the call, we define that a little bit. Let me pull up the call specifically. So we say two professional references that detail the relationship to the applicant and provide specific examples of their assessment of the expertise of the applicant's research area. So this could be, former PhD supervisors. This could be other researchers that you've collaborated with. Um, so just professional references who can sort of speak to your expertise and speak to your quality as a researcher and your ability to succeed in this program. This was stated in the requirements, two publications in refereed journals related to the research area. Oh, Jose, we did say two publications as an application requirement. Oh, you're muted, Jose.
We said that. Is it in the call?
We did say that.
Sorry, colleagues. Oops.
They caught
So,
us.
so there is that.
Yes. So, and again, I think that's just to demonstrate sort of your caliber as a researcher, and to give potential mentors something to go off of. So that gives them sort of a frame of reference to know if the collaboration will be successful.
I
So
just want to
thank you
reiterate.
for calling us out on
Mhm,
that.
mhm. I just want to point out one thing that we said earlier, and somebody texted me about it, is that
Hmm.
the the focal points list will be updated as of today. So
Hmm.
don't worry about what's there now. We've had some changes and we will update those. So the names will be correct after this.
And it will be at that link, so that link will still be valid. You talked about males being those dedicated to gender equity. Can you explain this?
You want me to give that a
Give it a shot, Jose.
so um so our applicants, our male applicants must, in addition to their own disciplinary work, they must have some kind of history of supporting women scholars or women students, or mentoring, or something that tells us that you are you are going to be an advocate when you are completed with this program. We want our male applicants to be advocates, right? So you could be working on gender. You could show, like, in your research, in your previous research, whether it's your dissertation or after you've completed, that you made a conscious effort to include gender in your work. And or you could have been, and as I said, an advocate in some way. You might be on a gender committee or something to demonstrate that you are not, kind of on that part of the spectrum, if I may call it that. Yeah. So it's not just about disciplinary area, but how can we make sure that you are advocating for early career women scholars in the future? I don't know if we answered that. Is the person, I mean, people can also talk, right? Or is this not, this is a webinar?
It's a webinar, so I
Oh,
don't
okay.
believe they
Okay.
can.
Okay.
Though I do see, let me look here. Oh, I thought I saw a hand raised. Maybe not. There's a hand raised. I think when they raise their hand, I can give them permission to talk.
Yeah, I think
You
it's
want to do
fine.
that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Mochkawana, I see your hand raised, and I will give you permission to ask us directly.
All right. Thank you. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm not able to type in the QA or chats. I don't know why. It seems like my QA session is disabled as well. So I was not able to type, but I have like 4 questions. The first question is that uh yeah. So is there any age limit to the for the applicants?
No, we don't have any
And
age
then,
limits.
all right. The second question is that you were saying 2 publications are required. That is for the application. And then for completion of the project, it's still 1 to 3 publications, right? And those 2 publications, should the applicant be the first author or they can be any author?
Yeah.
And then another question, the last
Let me
one.
write them down before we forget, Justin.
Mhm.
So you are changing from no need for evidence of publication when you apply to 2 publications, right?
Yeah, whatever is in the eligibility. So we had a senior moment there for a second. So
All right, no problem.
whatever is required, make sure that you are following that, because what is on the call is what it is, not what we are
And
remembering right now.
right. I just checked. It is reflected in the application itself. So yes, just be sure to follow each step of the application.
All right. But you don't know if the person should be first author or any author in that part.
Could be any
Could be
any
any
order.
author. All right. So now the last question is that the applicants must be employed with the collaborating universities. What happens when they change employment during the course? Maybe to another collaborating university or to another university that is not collaborating. You never know. Is that what happens there?
Well, that's an interesting question. We've not had that because everybody has been here for a year and we are assumed that they are, still working for the institution. So it's something that we have not had to encounter.
Okay.
We are going to have to think through how that would work, because the point of this is that we are supporting the universities that are part of the AAP consortium. This is a program that is for the consortium members. So if you're not working there, then it's not fair to the people who applied and who were working there, we could potentially have selected. So it would be important, I think, for applicants to let us know if they change jobs. Then we can figure out what is the best course of action at that point.
Because in my opinion, if they are going to another university, which is part of the part of the universities that you have listed, that shouldn't be a problem.
Well, but remember, we all applied. So when you go to another institution that may have an applicant already, so it means that university would have received 2 applicants, and then another university wouldn't have received any. So there's a very delicate balance because we don't have many of these potential slots.
All right, it's good to know. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. I see a couple more questions in the Q&A. With regards to the publication requirements, if one has 1 published article and 1 under review, will that mean they are not eligible to apply? So in the call, under application requirements, we specify 2 publications in referee journals related to their research area. So Jose, would we allow 1 published, 1 under review? You're muted again.
Okay. I was saying to apply and let's take it from there. You never know. By the time the applications are under review, your article may have been accepted. You let us know with any updates. But like I said, it's competitive. So someone who has been already published, obviously, may or may not stand, kind of be a higher priority. It just depends on what their application looks like, the research interest, the potential for a mentor. There are just many different things. I mean, the key rate determining step is whether there is a mentor here to work with the person. If there's none, then there's nothing we can do about it.
Right. All right, we've got another question. Should my home mentor write a professional reference for me? And should the leave letter come from my department or from my university? Can any suffice? So
I
if go ahead.
no, I was saying it's listed, I think, who should say what, but clarify for us just to be sure that we're
So
giving the right
as
info.
written, the professional reference requirement is two professional references that detail the relationship to the applicant and provides specific examples of their assessment of the expertise of the applicant's research area. So if your selected home mentor uh, could meet that requirement, if they have worked with you in a professional capacity, if they are able to assess your expertise in your research area, then I would say that they probably are qualified to write that reference letter. Um, though, I mean, it's not required that these could be references that are not the mentor. This could be your first time working with the mentor. So we don't have any specific requirements there. And then should the leave letter come from my department or from my university? I believe we say the letter must come. Let me look here. Have documented approval of leave or sabbatical to participate in the program for the in-person period. So it would be whoever is, I guess, authorized to grant you that leave, whether that be your head of department. I think we say we need a written endorsement from the applicant's head of department approving the leave. So whatever avenue you have to go through to get that leave, your HOD would have to sign off on it as well. So we would need an endorsement from them. What about an article or articles under production? Can this be considered? How can evidence of an article under review or production be produced? So as Jose said earlier, this question about publications, if you have them under review or if you've submitted and are waiting on feedback, go ahead and apply. There's definitely nothing stopping you from applying. Um, and then should that change, should they be published in the meantime, please let us know. Um, but again, this is a competitive process. So those who have the two publications already in the journals, may hold a little more weight than those who are earlier on in that process. But by all means, submit an application because, as Jose said, there's a lot of factors at play here. And then the second part of that question, how can evidence of an article under review or production be produced? Typically, there should be some sort of indication from the journal saying that it's under review. I think if you just let us know it's under review, um, that should be sufficient. Right, Jose?
They can also submit when you submit the article, the journal writes to you and all the authors that this article was submitted, blah, 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 and you could
Mhm.
submit that for us as evidence.
Right. Yeah, the more information you provide us, the better. Okay, any other questions? I think we have gotten to everything in the Q&A. I see oh, that was the old hand here. I can lower that hand. Any final questions? Anything that we haven't addressed today or that you want to ask us directly? Please know, if you don't ask a question today, but one comes to you later, our email addresses are available. Jose's, I think, is directly on the call. I can even show that screen again. Our email address is on there. Oh, I see another hand. Hold on one second. Okay, it's gone. So here's Jose's email address. Here's my email address. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions ahead of that application deadline. As a reminder, August 18th is the date, so please get your application in sooner than later. We are going to try and stay as firm as possible on that deadline, so please get your materials in order and get them submitted. We look forward to reviewing them. I'm excited about this version of the program, so I think it will be interesting, and I think we're going to have a good selection of scholars. I've been very impressed with our 4 cohorts so far, so I have those same high expectations for this 5th one. Um, oh, I see a couple more questions. Florence, good morning, AAP team. Thank you for this webinar. Thank you, Florence. For those who don't know, Florence is one of our current scholars based at Makerere. So if there's any folks from Makerere here, he is definitely a resource to tell you a bit more about the program. For research idea traverses more than one thematic area, i.e. culture and youth empowerment, is that okay? Yes, that is definitely okay. We just ask that it fall within at least one of those areas, but we definitely are open to broader ideas that span multiple. And then please share the link for the faculty at MSU. So for finding faculty at MSU, the best avenue is going to be searching their individual departments. So I would start just at MSU's main website, msu.edu, and then navigating from there. So MSU has 17 colleges. We're a very broad institution. There's not a single listing of all of our faculty. Instead, they're sorted by colleges and departments. So I would
Justin,
navigate to the relevant college and department and search there.
Justin, do you want to just show them the department link? The departments, that link with all departments. I think there's that can be a easy.
Let me pull that up here. I think there's an overview of all of the colleges that can be a starting point. Here we go. So those are all of MSU's degree granting colleges. There are more than 400 programs across those colleges, so there's definitely a depth and a breadth of knowledge. There's also an A to Z directory here that I can share. So those are they're majors, but it should also give you a starting point for finding relevant departments and programs.
Mm-hmm. I think the first link that you shared is really good because it has the college, so you could figure out, okay, I'm in this area, and then it has the departments, divisions, and schools that are within that. It also has centers, institutes, and partners. So you just click on the plus sign, it opens up, and then you go and look for people who are in your area. And what we're saying before is give us at least 3 names, at least 3 in order, in ranked, so that, in case one person says no, we can check somebody else.
Again, making sure that the folks that you select are at least associate professor at MSU.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any final questions? Otherwise, I think we can wrap up. Nothing? Okay. Jose, any parting words from you?
No, I think if there are no more questions, then we're good. Is there something in the chat, Justin? I see 2 unread. Maybe it's just me not having read them. Oh, that's from you. Okay. Yep. Okay. No, we're good. If there are any questions, just let us know. We are here until the deadline. And as Justin mentioned, make sure you get your stuff in early. That's the key thing. We might even be kind enough. we might even be kind enough to review to see if there's missing documents. Might. It depends on how, if
Might.
we get a flurry.
No promises.
Promises. If we get a flurry of applications, then that makes it very difficult.
Right.
But yeah.
We've got a hand raised again. Quickly, hold on one second. All right. Go ahead.
Yes, that's because I can't type on the QA.
Right.
But I just want to thank you guys. I needed to throw in something to say that this is very exciting. And hopefully you will. Hopefully you will. But we are looking forward to actually applying and hoping to get picked and be sponsored. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you. Looking forward to receiving your application.
And
Thank
one of
you.
the other things is also is to reach out to people who have been scholars in the past and get
Yes.
information from them. I don't know if we have that info on our website, Justin, but maybe we should have it.
I believe previous scholars are on there. I don't think we have their direct contact information, but we have names and everything on there.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
All right. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.